So we have a site that represents 13,000 years of undisturbed occupation. It's a pretty unique site in North America as a whole, and for Texas too. A lot of sites don't really have that evidence for continuous occupation. A lot of times what we do ends up in a report on a shelf that people don't really see. If we have a public outreach component where people can come and see what we do on a day-to-day basis, it gives them an idea of what we're finding. What we do is more than just finding rocks and putting them in a box in a museum.
This season we were really targeting one zone, the Calf Creek Horizon, which is a specialized bison hunters. We have found some projectile points that were from the Calf Creek Horizon, among other later cultures too.
That one is called a beveled knife. It's got this triangular shape. And then you can see how along the edges it has this sort of beveling, where basically it's been resharpened over and over again. This is an arrow point called a Purdy's point. It's a late prehistoric time period. That's a true arrow point right there. This bigger one is probably a spear point. The reason it's not washed and it's dirty is that we're going to submit it for protein residue analysis to see if there's any blood protein still on it, to figure out what it was used on. We're trying to figure out how people lived in the past and how they adapted to a changing environment. We might be able to find information that helps us understand how people adapted to a drought 5,000 years ago. Our information not only informs people's interest in just archaeology, but also how people adapted to similar situations in the past. Well, our next move is to deal with the 200,000 artifacts that we found this past year. We also intend to create a website where people can come in and zoom in and look at what we found. We also hope to have 3D scans of some of the tools, some of the arrowheads and spear points. We also hope to have 3D scans of some of the tools, some of the arrowheads and spear points, and have those in that reconstruction so people can click on them and see the actual artifacts that we found.
Texas State's annual event played host Sunday morning to several schools including Baylor, Texas A&M, and Arizona State. The rain may have been coming down, but the riders and water were flying up. Men and women strapped in and launched off to compete in beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels for their respective universities. Texas State Wake is a group of students that gets together to have fun, compete, and fly.
I heard about the wakeboarding team and just started doing this because it's just a group of people that love to ride, and only a few competitions every year, but it's kind of just go out, hang out, and ride.
As one of the top-ranked cable parks in the country, Texas Ski Ranch offers the ideal place for Texas State to call home. If you've never strapped on a board before, or if you're a pro, this is the spot to go in the hill country for a great experience. Texas State offers wakeboarding classes for anyone who wants to fill a PFW credit and get stoked at the same time. For Bobcat Update, I'm Chris Simmons. This year marked the 30th anniversary of the Great Texas River Cleanup. About 700 volunteers participated in the event Saturday in an effort to help preserve the beauty of the San Marcos River and help the local wildlife thrive. Some volunteers were on foot along the banks, while others hopped in canoes to get further down the river.
This is the Greater Texas River Cleanup because they clean from the headwaters of the river all the way down to Cummins Dam. So it includes a lot of partnerships.
Texas State graduate students with an interest in sustainability were also on hand to study what type of trash has the biggest impact on the river.
We're just opening up the bags when they bring them back, not all of them, just some of them, to double check and make sure that we understand what is being dropped on the ground or blown into the ditches that might end up in the river.
Keeping the river clean would be a lot easier if people would pay more attention.
Whatever you bring on the river, make sure you take off the river. Just like pretty much pack you in, and basically whatever you pack in, pack it out.
For Bobcat Update, I'm Chris Simmons.
The Arbor Day Foundation has again recognized Texas State University for its conservation efforts. The university is the recipient of the Foundation's Tree Campus Award. The award reflects the university's commitment to urban forest management. The Arbor Day Foundation was impressed by how environmentally friendly and visually pleasing the campus is to visitors, students, and faculty. Construction projects on campus are incorporating more greenery, which impress the foundation. The university was first recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation in 2011.